afternoon, everyone. It's a beautiful day here in Newport, and as I've said many times, there'll be music in Newport this summer, but this is a celebration that has been very anticipated by many people, and I'm happy to be here recognizing with the Attorney General, the Speaker, the Senate President, Senator Oyer, and Representative Carson, along with Treasurer Magazine, are here today. So many legislative leaders and other local advocates have worked incredibly hard on this effort, and I want to thank them all for their tireless work and their dedication to this milestone that we're experiencing here today in the fight against climate change. I'd also like to take a moment to recognize someone who fought hard in this arena, who was a friend of mine and actually worked with me at his Lieutenant Governor's office, Erica Nadowski. I think she represented many spirits, many people who have worked on behalf of the climate change and making sure we're doing everything we can to make sure that we have a safe, environmentally safe state and country and world. And Erica I was just privileged to know Erica. We all know she was worked very hard when she was in my office, and through her passionate advocacy on climate and environmental issues. Erica passed away just several months ago, and her loss was felt by all of us who knew her. We wish she could be here today, because I know how proud she would be to see the Act on Climate signed into law. Climate change poses a significant threat to our future. The science is undeniable. Rhode Island is already feeling its impacts across our economy and our environment. With 400 miles of coastline, urban and rural coastal communities, fishing and agricultural industries, and a concern for public health, the ocean state is on the front lines of this climate crisis. That's why it falls on us here and now to act swiftly and protect our planet, our nation, and our state for future generations. This legislation represents a commitment that not only addresses a moral imperative, but also presents an opportunity to enhance our economy, our public health, environmental equity, and our natural environment. The Act on Climate is a bold response to a serious threat, and I strongly support its goal of reaching net zero by 2050. We have to be smart about it and how we approach it, and we have to move quickly. But climate change is also a threat to our tourism industry and the countless small businesses it supports. This is especially true right here in Newport. We rely on that tourism. So many families rely on that economy, and we got to make sure that we do everything we can to protect that part of our economy. With the Biden-Harris administration working to provide significant federal funds for infrastructure and recovery, Rhode Island must seize this opportunity, and it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, so the timing of this passage of the bill is very appropriate. That means growing green jobs and promoting resiliency. I believe the Act on Climate will move Rhode Island in the right direction and ensure we work together to meet its goals. I'm directing my cabinet to ramp up the strategic planning and outreach needed to put together plans and meet the targets under this act, and do it quickly, and then bring in all the partners that are represented here today and beyond, and with the leadership of the Rep and Senator who are sponsors of this bill. On the road ahead, Rhode Island will pursue new investments, policies, and programs to achieve the Act on Climate goals. I look forward to working with the General Assembly, our congressional delegation, local communities, small businesses, labor leaders, advocates, and other stakeholders to ensure our efforts create an affordable and sustainable pathways towards a net zero climate and an emissions future. I want to thank you. I now want to invite the Attorney General, Noronha, to say a few words. Thank you for all being here today.
Thank you, Governor. It's great to be standing on the very spot that my father, grandfather, and my uncle stood on as they worked the Jamestown-Newport ferries over much of the last century. Neither my father nor my grandfather envisioned a world where their grandchildren and great-grandchildren might be faced with the threat of climate change. But that's a real threat that we face today. And the first step to taking action is to set a goal and to make those goals enforceable. And that's what this legislation does. And so I give great credit to the governor, the House and Senate leadership, the sponsors, Senator Oyer and Representative Carson, and all the members of the General Assembly who worked so hard to get this legislation through. I also want to recognize the advocates. You know, it's the advocates that push elected officials, people like me, to do what is best for the people of the state of Rhode Island and around the country. The time to act is now. When I look at the faces of my children, who are young adults now, and think about the children they may have, it's not just the world we have today, it's the world that we leave behind. So congratulations to all of you and the General Assembly and the Governor for making this day possible. I now want to introduce my friend, Treasurer Magaziner, to say a few words.
Well, thank you, General. I want to start again by thanking the Governor, the Attorney General, all of the members of the General Assembly who are here, and in particular, Senator Oyer and Representative Carson for their leadership. Thank you to the advocates from the environmental community, from the organized labor community, which is also represented here, and from the cities and towns. I've been a supporter of the Act on Climate because we have an opportunity to create thousands of good-paying jobs here in Rhode Island, transitioning to a green economy. We have an opportunity to put thousands of people to work, making our state more resilient, more sustainable, and making Rhode Island an economic leader instead of a follower. The Narragansett Bay, the average sea level of the Narragansett Bay has gone up 6 inches in the last 30 years. Now that is a threat to our communities, to our small businesses, to families, to homeowners, and we can either sit back and do nothing and pay the consequences later, which will be costly both in financial terms and in human terms, or we can be bold and proactive and say we are going to seize this moment, we are going to make Rhode Island a leader, we are going to put people to work, making our state more resilient and more sustainable, and Rhode Island has chosen to be a leader. So, thank you to all of you. Thank you as well to Speaker Shekarchi and Senate President Ruggiero for their leadership. Listen, change is not always easy. Change can be messy, change can be hard, but fortune favors the bold, and Rhode Island is taking a bold step today. It's my pleasure now to introduce Senate President Dominic Ruggiero.
Thank you very much, Mr. Treasurer. Toward the end of last year, the Senate mentioned that we were going to take some bold initiatives this year. And I think that we have done that. And I'm here to commend not only my colleague, the chair of the Environmental and Agricultural Committee, Senator Dawn Oyer, but also everyone else who participated in this act. And I have some colleagues here that I would like to mention. I hope I don't miss anyone, but I know that we have Senator Kendra Anderson here, Senator Ilana DiMario, Senator Lou DePalma, Senator Val Lawson, and Senator Megan Coleman. I know they're here somewhere, and I want you to please recognize those people because they worked very hard on a number of environmental issues, along with Senator Oyer. So I wanted to thank them for the input that they provided us and the work that they've done on not only this issue, but other environmental issues. Obviously, we are the ocean state, and we are concerned about the effects of climate change and what it's going to do to Rhode Island in the future. You heard the treasurer say that we've been losing ground over the last 30 years, and I think climate change is happening more rapidly than we had anticipated. So we have a number of pieces of legislation pending in the Senate and in the House that I think we're going to be addressing during this session. And I think that we're going to be able to make some significant changes to our policies in the state of Rhode Island. Obviously, we're looking to reduce our reliance on fossil fuels. So that's one of the major initiatives we are going to be taking this year. So I want to thank the sponsor. I certainly want to thank Dawn Oyer. Senator Oyer was in my office probably 20 times on this bill. I'm not saying I got tired of seeing her, but she worked diligently on this piece of legislation. Some other people, my staff, and our legal department, and I think they did an absolutely outstanding job, and we're going to look for more in the future. So I want to thank you very much. I want to thank you for turning out today. This is a very important issue. It's a great goal to set. I think we can do some great things in the state of Rhode Island and show other parts of the country what we can do. So I want to thank everyone. I want to thank the governor and the attorney general for their input. I want to thank everyone who was involved, and we look forward to doing more regarding controlling climate change. So thank you all very much. Have a great day and stay safe. It now gives me a great pleasure to introduce my counterpart in the House, the new Speaker of the House, K. Joseph Shekarchi.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator President. It's a wonderful day. Couldn't ask for better weather, and it's a great turnout. Contrary to some of the rumors, the House did not pass this bill because I was getting tired of getting texts at midnight from Amy Moses, save the planet, save the planet. That's not the reason we passed it, although that's a side benefit, so thank you, Amy. This is an unbelievably important day for our state, for the environmental community, but for all of us as individuals for coming together and doing the right thing. Not for what's going to happen today or tomorrow, but what's going to happen over the next 30 years. The governor said this is a bold plan, and it most certainly is. And it was because of my colleagues in the House who came to me. I want to recognize them in a minute, who came to me and said, we need to do this. We need to do this for the future of Rhode Island. We all have to do our part, and we have to leave this state better than when we found it. And in passing this act was testament to them and to getting that job done. I want to recognize some of my colleagues who obviously supported the bill. Representative Susan Donovan, Newport's own Marvin Abney, Chairwoman Ruggiero from Jamestown, Representative Terry Cortravan, Representative Michelle McGaugh, Representative Julie Casimiro, Chairwoman Carol McEntee, Chairwoman Kathy Fogarty, Representative June Speakman, freshman representative from Cranston, Brandon Potter. I haven't seen her yet, but I know she's on her way. The whip, my whip, Katie Kazarian, who was phenomenal. When we were deciding whether we're going to do this bill or not, there were people who don't support the bill, said we didn't have the votes. And I turned to Katie, and this was her first big test, and she says, you not only have the votes, you have over 50 votes. So Katie delivered. He's not here today, but I want to recognize my good friend, my partner in running the House, Chris Blazajewski. Yes, he deserves it. He had a prior family commitment and couldn't make it today. But on behalf of everybody, this was a team effort. It really was. We worked hard. We did a wonderful job. But there was one person who stood out among all of my colleagues, among myself and Chris and Katie and our leadership team, and that was Lauren Carson. Yes, that's right. Give her a round of applause. Lauren Carson is one of the most thoughtful, hardworking legislators I have ever met in my life. She didn't just believe in the issue. She researched it. She convinced me. She convinced others. She did her homework. She was deliberate. She was polite. She was respectful. She worked very hard. And for people who don't know Lauren, this is not something new for Lauren. Lauren started her environmental advocacy in her 20s in the state of New Jersey. And she has never stopped caring about the environment, whether it's sea level rise, whether it's training for planning board members, whether it's climate control, whether it's emissions, whatever it is, Lauren has been there fighting that fight for 45 years. And this is a culmination of her hard work to make a real difference for not only our state, but for our planet. Lauren, congratulations for you. Thank you. And of course, her counterpart, a fellow Newport legislator, Senator Ewer, as well. And with that, it gives me great pleasure, thank you, to recognize and introduce Senator Dawn Euler, who came to the State House in a special election where she won by an overwhelming mandate, and she continues to be a good legislator for her chamber. Senator, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. This legislation has been called landmark legislation, and I truly believe it is. We're, I believe, the 9th state in the country to set net zero goals for 2050. That's historic, it's amazing, and it's where we need to be as a state. And I'm so proud to have worked with everybody who's here today, both speaking and in the audience supporting this bill. Any big piece of legislation does not happen overnight, it does not happen easily, and it does not happen alone. And so I really want to express my very deepest appreciation to everybody who worked so hard on this bill, not just this year, but for over a decade, versions of this bill had been introduced. In 2014, Senator Conley was able to get the Resilient RI bill passed, which allowed us to set the framework that led to today's victory. And I think that the history is important to understand and recognize that while sometimes the change that we want to see does not happen overnight, the progress continues to happen day by day and year by year. And it happens when we come together and work for a cause that's important and that is bringing us into the future. So I want to thank everybody who's here today. I want to, in addition to those who have been recognized, I also want to recognize Newport's Mayor, Jean Marie Napolitano, former Mayor